Welcome and hello everyone. I'm Asma Munir and I welcome you all to another powerful and deeply meaningful live session. Today's topic is something we often avoid, yet it quietly shapes our mental strength, emotional balance, and quality of life. We are talking about compassion and the art of forgiving yourself, a topic that can transform the way you think, heal, and grow. Today, I am honored to have to be joined Maya. Thank you so much for
Ah,
joining us once again, Maya.
Hola, alaikum assalam.
Okay, before
Good to
we
be back, Aswa.
before we begin, let me say this clearly: self-compassion is not a weakness; it is emotional strength. Forgiving yourself is not forgetting your mistakes; it is learning and releasing the guilt that holds you back. Most people know how to be kind to others, but being kind to themselves—that's where they struggle. Today, we are going to break this cycle. Now let's start our question. Maya, how would you define self-compassion in simple and practical terms that anyone can understand?
Hmm. Okay, so I think a lot of people get tangled up in thinking it's about letting yourself off the hook, but it's really about treating yourself with the same kindness, concern, and understanding you'd offer a good friend who's struggling. It's acknowledging suffering, your own suffering, without judgment. Basically, it's being a good friend to yourself, even when you've messed up.
Okay, what are some early signs that a person is lacking self-compassion in their daily life?
Ooh, good question. I'd say a big one is harsh self criticism, constantly putting yourself down. Also, difficulty accepting compliments, always downplaying your achievements. People low on self compassion tend to get really caught up in comparing themselves to others and feel isolated when they fall short. And often they'll avoid situations where they might fail because the thought of self criticism is too painful. Does that resonate?
Okay, why is
So they
forgiving ourselves often harder than forgiving others? What creates this internal resistance?
That's a good one. I think it comes down to a couple things. With others, there's often a sense of distance, like they made a mistake. With ourselves, it feels so personal, so directly tied to our sense of who we are. We hold ourselves to impossibly high standards, and when we fall short, it feels like a moral failing, not just a simple error. Plus, we're often afraid that if we forgive ourselves, we'll lose motivation to do better. Like we need the guilt to keep us in line. It's a bit of a messy tangle, honestly.
Okay, what role does guilt and shame play in stopping people from moving forward, and how can they break that emotional loop?
Okay, so guilt and shame are heavy stuff. Guilt is usually about something you did, a specific action. Shame, though, is deeper. It's a feeling that you are bad, flawed, unworthy, and shame is paralyzing. It makes you want to hide, to withdraw. To break that load, you've got to start by recognizing the difference between the two. Then you need to challenge those shame based beliefs. Are they actually true? Are you really a bad person because of one mistake? Usually the answer is a resounding no.
Okay, how can
It's about
someone
shifting.
start practicing self compassion if they grew up hearing negative things about themselves?
That's a tough one because that inner critic can be relentless, but it's doable. Start small, like actively challenge those negative thoughts. When you hear it, ask yourself, is this actually true? Would I say this to a friend? Then consciously replace it with something kinder, more realistic. Also, mindful self compassion exercises can help. There's one called Self Compassion Break, where you literally put your hand on your heart, acknowledge your suffering, remind yourself that everyone struggles, and offer yourself kindness. It sounds cheesy, but it can really help rewire your brain over time.
Okay, how does our inner voice or self talk shape our ability to forgive ourselves?
It's huge. Honestly, our inner voice is the biggest gatekeeper to self forgiveness. If it's constantly berating you, calling you names, focusing on all the ways you messed up, well, forgiveness doesn't stand a chance. It's like trying to plant a seed in concrete. You need to cultivate a kinder, more supportive inner dialogue. That voice needs to be an ally, not an enemy. Start noticing what you say to yourself throughout the day. Is it harsh? Unfair? You can actively work to reframe those thoughts to offer yourself a bit of grace. It takes practice, but it's totally worth it.
Okay, self forgiveness the same is letting yourself off the hook, or is it something deeper?
Definitely deeper.
Okay.
Letting yourself off the hook feels dismissive, like you're avoiding responsibility. Self forgiveness isn't about excusing your actions, it's about acknowledging them, understanding what led to them, learning from them, and then releasing the emotional burden that's holding you back. It's about saying, okay, this happened. It wasn't ideal, but I'm not going to let it define me. It's integrating the experience into your story rather than being stuck in it. Does that make sense?
Okay, how can mindfulness help a person become more gentle and understanding toward their own emotions?
Right. Mindfulness is key here. When you're really present, observing your emotions without judgment, it creates space between you and the feeling. Instead of getting swept away by shame or guilt or anger, you can see it as just a feeling. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. You start to realize that emotions aren't facts, they're just temporary states. And when you're not battling your feelings, you're more likely to approach them with curiosity and kindness rather than harshness. It's like learning to hold your own hand through a difficult moment instead of punching yourself. It allows for gentleness.
Okay, what should a person do when they keep repeating the same mistakes and feel hopeless about change?
Ugh, that's a really tough spot. First, acknowledge that repeating patterns is human. We all do it. It doesn't mean you're broken or incapable of change. It means you've likely hit a limiting belief or haven't addressed the root cause of the issue. Instead of focusing on the failure, focus on the pattern. What's triggering it? What need isn't being met? Then break it down into tiny, manageable steps. Don't try to overhaul your life overnight. Small wins build momentum. And seriously, be kind to yourself through the process. Self compassion is even more important when you're stumbling. You can't beat yourself up for falling down if you actually want to get back up.
Okay, how can someone deal with the fear of judgment from others when trying to heal and forgive themselves?
That's a big one. It's hard to be vulnerable, especially when you fear what others will think. But here's the thing, you can't control other people's judgments. All you can control is your own reaction to them. Start by reminding yourself that their opinions are about them, not about you. Often, people judge others based on their own insecurities. And honestly, the people who truly matter will support you, even when you're imperfect. You might need to set boundaries with people who are consistently critical or unsupportive. Surround yourself with folks who lift you up, not tear you down. It takes courage, but it's worth it. Your healing is more important than their approval.
Okay, thank you so much, Maya, for your heart touching wisdom, and thank you to all our beautiful viewers who joined us today. Remember this, you observe compassion, you deserve forgiveness, you deserve peace. Healing begins the moment you stop fighting yourself and start understanding yourself. I'm Asfamani signing off. Stay kind, stay gentle, and most important, stay compassionate towards your own heart. See you in the next live session. Until then, Allah Hafiz. Bye.
You're very welcome, Asfa. That was a beautiful message to end on.